Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. We're diving right into something that literally affects the daily lives, the morning coffee runs, and the everyday commutes of so many people right here in Grass Valley. I'm talking about the State Route 2049 Complete Streets Feasibility Study. If you've ever found yourself stuck in that frustratingly tricky traffic at this specific interchange, or if you've ever looked around and thought, wow, this is pretty sketchy for anyone not sitting inside a car, well, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this one. This isn't just your standard let's move cars from point A to point B kind of thing anymore. We're going to break down exactly why this project is absolutely crucial, and we'll map out exactly how Caltrans and its local partners are planning to totally overhaul the future of this interchange. Okay, let's dive into this. Do you travel through the SR20/49 interchange regularly? Think about your typical week for a second. Maybe you live right around the corner, or maybe you completely rely on it to get to work. Or maybe it's just that unavoidable bottleneck you have to deal with to access your favorite local businesses. If any of that rings true, then you already know this layout intimately. You know the flaws, you know the delays, and you definitely know the dangers better than anyone. Caltrans is essentially asking this exact question right now because they're looking at making some major transformative changes. They recognize that you, the people navigating this mess every single day, are the ultimate on-the-ground experts. They literally need your lived experience to figure out exactly what needs fixing.
Moving right along to Section 1, Current Conditions, the Interchange Problem.
When we take an honest look at the current conditions at the SR20/49 interchange, the sheer necessity of this project becomes glaringly obvious. The current infrastructure is, frankly, totally inadequate for a modern community. Let's look at the reality right now. The interchange completely lacks bicycle facilities. None. If you're trying to commute on a bike, you are forced into some highly dangerous situations. And if you're walking, well, sure, there are sidewalks, but they only exist on the north side. Think about how incredibly limiting that is. It's this highly fragmented system where a sidewalk just abruptly ends, leaving pedestrians stranded or forcing them to cross pretty unsafe traffic patterns. The core goal of this study is to finally look at these travel performance measures and aggressively move away from this limited reality. The future goal is an environment that actually accommodates all modes of travel, identifying comprehensive improvements that properly and safely support not just vehicles, but bicyclists and pedestrians too.
And this brilliantly illustrates Section 2, Complete Streets, the proposed solution.
Now, you might hear a phrase like Complete Streets Feasibility Study and wonder, okay, what does that actually mean in the real world? Let's strip away all that bureaucratic language. The main idea here is to develop alternative solutions to create a transportation network that is safe, comprehensive, connected, and integrated. In plain everyday terms, it just means making sure that whether you're driving a car, walking on foot, or riding a bike, you have easy, stress-free, and efficient access to the interchange and all of its surrounding facilities. It's all about taking a space that currently only really works for cars and transforming it into viable, welcoming infrastructure that works for absolutely everyone in the community. It's also super important to understand that a massive state agency like Caltrans isn't just dropping in and doing this in a vacuum. To make sure these plans actually reflect reality, they're actively partnering with essential local agencies throughout the entire planning phase. We're talking about the City of Grass Valley, the Nevada County Transportation Commission, and Nevada County Transit. Having these local voices in the room is absolutely critical. These local and regional partnerships are the ones really driving the study, ensuring that the eventual solutions aren't just, generic highway designs, but infrastructure updates that actually fit the community's unique on-the-ground needs. Which brings us to Section 3, Funding Opportunities, Building a Better Network. Let's move to and see how this builds into an actual physical project where we see shovels in the ground. Because to do that, you need funding, right? There are several major grant opportunities on the table here. For statewide funding, there's the Active Transportation Program, or ATP, which specifically encourages active modes of travel, meaning dedicated cash for biking and walking infrastructure. Then, up on the federal level, they're actively looking at big, discretionary grants like the BUILD grant. BUILD stands for Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development, and it directly supports environmental connectivity, vast safety improvements, better local mobility, and long-term economic competitiveness for the region. Finally, they're eyeing the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, or SS4A. This one is profoundly important because it's purposefully designed to fund regional and local initiatives that literally prevent roadway fatalities and serious injuries, which, as you can see, aligns perfectly with this study's primary commitment: genuinely safer streets for all users.
Moving right along to Section 4, Project Timeline, What to Expect. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how clearly defined this timeline is, meaning we know exactly when key decisions are being made. Initial data collection and analysis kicks off in the fall of 2025. Then, fast forward to spring, between March and June of 2026, we'll finally see a draft feasibility study. But here is the absolute most crucial part. Right in the middle of that window, from April 27th to May 22nd, 2026, is the public survey. This is your specific window to weigh in. Following that highly important public survey from May to June 2026, planners will revise those alternative designs based directly on the feedback they received from the community. And finally, the final feasibility study incorporating all that local input drops in August 2026.
Let's jump to Section 5. Your voice matters. Make your voice heard. Your voice really, truly matters. I want to emphasize this point because public engagement isn't just some box for the government to check off. It is an incredibly important, foundational part of the planning process. Listen, engineers sitting at desks miles away, they understand the math of traffic, sure, but they do not live your specific commute. They don't know the exact spot where a pedestrian feels terrified to cross, or the precise intersection that continuously backs up at 5 p.m. Caltrans actively wants to hear from you, the residents, the daily commuters, the local business owners. Your localized feedback is deeply powerful because you are the missing data point. You are the ones dealing with the incredibly frustrating realities of this specific interchange day in and day out, which means you hold the key to actually fixing it. So, the crucial point is that getting involved is incredibly simple, and it's directly impactful. It happens in 3 easy steps. Step 1 is to take that short online survey that Caltrans is setting up during that crucial spring 2026 window we just discussed. By simply filling out that form, you immediately move to Step 2. You actually play a key role in shaping the specific physical infrastructure solutions that will enhance mobility right in Grass Valley. Your specific frustration literally becomes a targeted fix. And finally, Step 3. Your localized input directly helps minimize those daily travel delays you hate and expands transportation options for absolutely everyone. Taking just a few short minutes of your time directly translates into tangible, physical improvements for your entire community.
Which leaves us with one final provocative thought to consider. Will you share your input to actively shape the future of Grass Valley's infrastructure, or will you stay silent and just leave your daily commute to chance? The pre-planning phase is literally the only time to act. Once the concrete is poured, well, it's too late. The future safety, connectivity, and flow of the SR 20/49 interchange is quite literally in your hands. So keep a close eye out for that public survey, make absolutely sure you participate when the time comes, and step up to help design a significantly safer, more connected community for everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.